At last, the moment you have all been waiting for. It's our first non-Warrior streamed match in a very long time. We saw one of them fall to the Dracai of Retribution in the hands of Travis Wagner on the last stream matchup. And we liked him so much that we invited him back to witness what could be an unprecedented, undefeated run at Arcane Games and Events.
Has that not ever happened?
I said unprecedented, but it just felt like a lot of syllables, and I wanted to say it.
It did feel fancy.
I actually don't know if there has been an undefeated run at an AGE Open.
Well, you're going to maybe see one today.
We might see one today, and it might be the first, but it might not be.
Two games to get through still for Travis, but he has been looking hot on that Cindra.
Without a doubt. And he's going to be going up against Peter Buddensiek, which, lucky for him, there are no more Warriors, because every time he says that any hero sucks, he definitely loses to them on stream immediately after.
Trash talk, so maybe things are looking up for him.
Maybe he's locking in.
Yeah. The lack of trash talk, because he thinks that the trash talk pre-camera showing is a jinx, and so maybe he's started to bite his tongue a bit. Wait till after the finals to do his trash talking, but
we do have an update from the other matches in top 8. Right now, the last Warrior is facing elimination right now. Tao Tao Chu is just eating fangs for breakfast. Evan Bridges fell to him in quarters, and Patrick Rubalcaba just lost a lot of fealty tokens mid-game against Tao Tao. So not looking great, but if there's anything I know about Patrick is that he can claw his way back in the end. So we will be getting on down to the match floor and proceeding with semis in just a moment. But before we do, we have to mention that there is more AGE action on the horizon tomorrow. That's right. We will have another AGE Open going on across the coast. Excuse me, not across the coast, across the country on the other coast at Great Stories Comics and Games in Whitensville, Massachusetts, where they are now on we are on our 5th Open of the year, and they are on their 4th. So nonstop AGE action. It's an AGE doubleheader. And then the next LA Open, our next streamed Open, will be on June 14th. Coming up next month, there will be another New England Open as well. We're going to see if we can get a stream going on that one, but that will definitely be closer to the end of the month. So stay tuned for a for-sure date on that one. In the meantime, it's a lot of flesh and blood action, and not just for the folks that decided to travel across the pond.
Yeah, looking forward to these last 2 games.
You know what else? Yeah, wow. I was about to segue, but you did it for me. So let's go ahead and do that second to last game and head on down. Swell the music, Justin. We've got ourselves a match in front of us. It's Peter Buddensiek on Arakni. Slip through the cracks. Our 4th seed versus Travis Wagner, Cindra, Dracai of Retribution, and the Scourge of AGE May.
And this time, Peter Buddensiek piloting an assassin. Very disruptive style deck. This is the kind of thing that can sometimes gum up a ninja who doesn't like to block. But of course, we will have to wait and see how the cards fall, as nothing is set in stone in the game of Flesh and Blood.
No, it's set in Flesh and Blood, in fact.
Yep.
And these two are right in front of you. And Peter is thumbing his glasses as our sock puppet producer tells him that we just trash-talked him on stream. How about that, Vegas?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It's all love for Peter Buddensiek. We are so thankful to have a player of his caliber traveling such a long distance to play in our events. And he's also just a swell guy, giving us plenty of hilarious things to talk about in the booth. Yeah. Gotta love him.
Great positive attitude. And he starts things off with the Hunter's Clave.
He starts off with Hunter's Clave, but then Travis says, I need to do a little bit of research here. Give me that mask, give me that hero power, and let me read it all up before we actually get underway here. Doesn't matter that Travis sees Slippy's pretty much every single week at Odyssey Games. He's still got to read all the cards.
Yeah.
Diligent is what Travis Wagner is.
It's important. You got to make sure you know exactly what you're doing and exactly what you're up against.
Diligent and literate, mind you.
Something I can't say for myself. Actual rocket scientist as well.
Yeah, he is a JPL rocket scientist. I thought I had more to say about that, but I don't. So he's going to start sending draconic attacks this way and that, seeing if he can engineer his way into the finals at AG May. How about them apples,
he's got to engineer himself out of this deep hole that he's dug on turn 0. There's no hole yet.
And it's not 1s and 0s he's going to use to do it. It's 3s and 4s.
Huh?
Well, yeah, you know, binary.
Oh, right.
I assume they use
binary.
binary.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, rockets. They're always binarying. There it is. First block of the game.
I left you out to die.
March of Loyalty.
I sent you to die there, my friend.
And the second dagger. Peter just sending his blue cards to the bottom of his deck, clearing his hand out a little bit. Flick Knives, clearing that out, doing one chip and marking.
Very early flick for Peter here. Turn 0 is not usually something we see for Slippies that are a little less want to create daggers, but Peter proving me wrong. It's an Orb Weaver Spinneret, getting that Graphene Callisto token online very, very early here. And the follow-up swing, 4 go again no matter what, because it is attacking a marked hero. Is Peter going to send all of the cards in his hand this first turn?
No way, right?
I don't know. There's maybe a way.
There's 2 more cards left for Travis. I mean, I can see just giving 1 and taking 1 and then saying, you're not going to send that.
I mean, Peter is also very happy to ditch these 2 blue double troubles early on.
Yeah.
Especially if he wasn't able to find them combined with a Just a Nick.
And Travis giving both cards. Peter's still not sending the last card, which was a Leave No Witness, preferring to use it for its full value, destroying an arsenal, which Travis did not have yet.
You have to think that that was a heads-up play. Travis drawing up a plethora of 3s and 4s here. One of them is on the defense, though, electing to run Loyalty Beyond the Grave in this matchup.
That makes a lot of sense. Sometimes you just want to make sure you can't get disrupted, and the defense reactions, especially in Arsenal, can really help you do that.
And maybe when the assassins are sending disruption your way turn after turn, perhaps the use case there is to just make sure that you get your 4 or 5 card hand rather than to get you to this Fable 6 card hand.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, Travis, a lot to consider here. You have to imagine that that defense reaction is poised for the Arsenal. Everything else he would love to convert on offense. I do see Tao Tao Chu in the background of Travis's shot. That means that Fang game has concluded. Yeah. Patrick R. is patting his tummy.
That body language tells me he maybe didn't make it over the finish line.
Entirely possible that our 3 warriors has dwindled to 0 here on the top 8.
Unfortunate, as Travis thinks about how he wants to start this chain out, opting for, what is that?
Fire Tenant, strike first. Travis is marked here. He is not threatening a mark. Don't be fooled. And it's a Just a Nick, which wasn't able to be paired with those double troubles that are now on the bottom of the deck, instead devoted to the combat chain, which does give Travis a window into Peter's turn. It's so important to watch the way that assassins block, and then it makes it so that you don't have to be as concerned, thinking about all of the possibilities every time they send an attack at you the next turn.
Yeah, and that is why just blocking in general is something that a lot of these classes don't want to do, preferring to send the 5-card hands. But of course, Assassin playing on both axes, a pretty defensive hero all in all, but also having a lot of offensive power.
Travis going for the flick immediately because I think he's only going to be able to send 2 more attacks.
Yeah.
So he's got to keep that Mask of Momentum live for as long as possible here.
Makes sense. Try to force a few more cards out of Peter.
Oh, and it's a Kunai of Retribution sent thanks to the free resource from Blood Splattered Vest.
I like that here because he can still threaten Mask off of this next card and then have a follow-up attack.
Peter takes that damage right away. 39 plays 35, currently in the favor of our Draconic Ninja, who has 3 cards left in hand and has already dealt a good bit of damage so far. I see why he was forced to do that as well, because he doesn't have any more Draconic cards. He is not going to be able to buy daggers back at the end of this turn.
Ooh, yikes.
Right now it's 4 go again. Usually that's not a huge problem for these Redline Cindra decks.
The defense reaction here, hitting that breakpoint is huge for Peter because that means that the Mask of Momentum is efficiently stopped. As Travis thinks about just sending 1 more 4 power and passing.
4.
So even though there is a ton of red all over Travis's cards, there's only been 1 Draconic Chain Link this entire turn.
Yeah. And Peter really just blocking a lot,
which is very sad,
keeping that life total high.
Travis auditing his board and seeing that he cannot buy his daggers back, so he's going to just let them go to the graveyard, like most daggers do when they blow up, but usually not Cindra's. He has drawn up more non-Draconic cards. It might be really hard for him to buy those daggers back. Peter The follow-up is Leave No Witnesses, and we know he's got one parked squarely in the Arsenal as well, so it's going to be Arsenal disruption for some time. Luckily, Travis has a defense reaction in there. So
yeah, that's exactly the time you want to have that. Just go ahead, block 3, move on with your life.
Travis is not ready, however, to move on as of yet.
Just piecing out his turn, making sure he can effectively use his 4-card hand.
Unfortunately, he's got himself a little bit of a clunker here because he is unable to generate Draconic Chainlinks, which means that Burning Blade Dance is not going to have go again.
Yeah, that is a big clunker.
It also means that Pain in the Backside and Burning Blade Dance, because Travis was not able to buy daggers back last turn, are going to lose a lot of value. A lot of their scary on hits that they normally pack behind them.
This might just be block with 2 cards from hand.
Block 1. No reactions.
No?
And 3.
Loyalty Beyond the Grave, the first copy thus far played out of the Arsenal for Travis. All the damage short up there thanks to the Dragon Scalar Flight Path. Travis remains at a very healthy 39 to Peter's 34. Travis probably is going to have to go Pain in the Backside, Ancestral Empowerment,
Yeah.
just to see if he can unbrick this hand.
Clean block.
Thumbing the Ancestral Empowerment as it flies down onto the combat chain. Can he turn this brick house into one of a volcano? It is Ignite. That is exactly what he needed to see here.
Thinking here.
Yeah, an extra Draconic card is really, really important.
33. Yeah. So this does not do the on hit because we don't have daggers.
Yeah. The use case for Ignite in this red line list, though, is to swing daggers, which, fortunately, Travis just doesn't have.
Yeah. Ignite does not bail him out here.
For you.
This is the...
Where can I ask that? Do I have to take the headphone off? I would take the headphone off. Okay.
Okay, headphones are coming
Judge
off
question.
because there is a judge question for Travis Wagner, which means that you're going to come back to the casting desk and spend a little time with your boys, Bryce and Michael.
Yeah.
Michael, this is the least consistent play that I've seen from Travis today. It seems like he has been a non-stop train of head jabs and Ravenous Rabbles and Blaze Headlongs all day long. Like, the hands have just been lining up so nicely for him.
Absolutely. This is the first time I've seen him like brick at all. And it's a tough one. I mean, he's still going to send some damage, but to have another turn where you don't get to buy your daggers back, he is losing value big time. Not being able to flick one of those each turn, not being able to get the extra Draconic Chain Links to turn things on.
Presenting on hits that require you to have daggers actively equipped.
And what I'm worried about here for him is that after this turn ends, he's going to have to face an assassin that has the tempo. And as soon as an assassin has the tempo, if they just keep it, it gets really scary really fast as they start stripping those cards from your hand and preventing you from setting anything meaningful up.
Especially Slippy, who is very want to not be bricked just because he has an extra action point that assassins normally don't have every single turn.
That natural go again for a stealth card.
So it could be the beginning of the disruption train, which got started by the coal that is a bricked up hand from Cindra, Dracai of Retribution.
Yeah.
We'll see if things have gotten resolved in the background here. Travis is back in his seat. He doesn't have his headphones on, which probably means that he's not quite ready to play here. He has gone ahead and cleaned up his hero, all of his cards, his daggers, obviously, so he might just be picking everything up and going home. I'm getting word from our fake producer, Justin, that we are looking up a rules. We were looking at the rules policy here. Sleepy Connor is still awake enough to scroll on his phone. We've interrupted his regular scheduled programming of cat videos on YouTube to see if he can do his job.
The hero is back on the table, so that's good.
Okay, that's good. Travis
Just
hasn't
put it
completely
in his
given
hand
up.
for some reason.
He wasn't totally offended by having to wake up Sleepy Connor.
Yeah.
Do you think... I feel like we should get Connor a Snuggie.
Yeah,
You remember Snuggies?
I sure do.
Did you ever own one?
I did not.
Did you ever eat a jar of mayonnaise in a Snuggie?
I ate a jar of marshmallow cream in a Snuggie that I didn't ever put on or own. This is a fake scenario. I never did that. Actually, no, funny story. It's called marshmallow cream, right? It's like marshmallow, but it's like kind of gooey liquid.
I know what you're talking. What is it called?
Marshmallow.
It's like Jet Puff or something like that.
Yeah. That was the brand for sure. But
Yeah.
as a child, I got into one of those jars with a spoon.
Oh, no.
And I just went to town on it.
And you knew how to use the spoon?
I was just old enough to know how to use the spoon, and I destroyed an entire jar of marshmallow cream or whatever they call it. I feel like there's another word for it, marshmallow.
Yeah, I know what you mean,
juice.
though. I respect the heck out of it.
But, man, that was good.
We've been talking about
it.
food a lot today, Michael. Let me tell you about, you've reminded me of a sandwich from my past. You ever heard of a fluffernutter?
No, that sounds disgusting. What is it?
It's not.
Okay.
It's, okay, picture this.
Yep.
2 pieces of bread, right? Mm-hmm. You know what a sandwich is, right?
I've heard of those.
Okay, one of those pieces of bread is covered in peanut butter.
Right.
The other one is covered in that marshmallow cream.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Slap them together, that's a fluffernutter.
Oh, yeah. I'd eat that.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
I know you would.
Sure.
With maybe an extra layer of mayonnaise in between the peanut butter and the
No, but
marshmallow?
I mean, I was going to say I would have eaten that as a child. Maybe not these days.
Well, when you're a child, you're like, why stop me with the bread and the peanut butter? Just give me the marshmallow cream.
Exactly. We got to figure out what the word for that is.
It's help us out, chat. I really think it's just marshmallow. I think it's just marshmallow cream.
Fluffernutter marshmallow cream.
JE46 and 2 is saying fluff.
I'm going to try Googling it while we wait. This is important.
Oh, wait. We have a game action, Michael.
Oh, okay.
It's Ignite. Sorry.
That'll have to wait.
The Fluffernutter question will have to remain unanswered just for a moment. It's 2 go again, and cost reduction on the next Draconic card that is played or activated. Unfortunately, Travis has literally none of those.
Yep. So 1 Draconic Chain Link, 2 damage coming through. Peter says, I don't care. Take it. 2 more cards to work with.
Chat is rising up in the name of Fluff. We love you guys.
Marshmallow Fluff.
Go ahead and make yourself a Fluffernutter for me. I can't do it as of now because I didn't bring the supplies.
Thank you, chat, for chiming in.
2 go again, still in the combat chain. Peter, actually, I think, no, the damage has connected. Peter is down to 31. Mm-hmm. Currently at an 8 life deficit to Travis Wagner. Travis is pitching 1.
Is he able to activate that for 1 because it discounts the ability?
Travis, a rocket scientist indeed. He uses the cost reduction off of Ignite to activate Cindra, who is a Draconic hero, which is probably exactly what we were conferring with the judge about in order to buy back his 2 kunai and slightly unbrick this hand. It's not great.
It's not great.
But, you know, it does bode well for Travis's future in this game. And he's only taken 1 point of damage so far.
Yeah, Cindra without the daggers just loses so much value. So being able to get those back, even at the cost of another low-value turn, I think is worth it. But Peter now sitting at 31 with the 3-card hand to work with needs to start disrupting Travis and making him pay for that brick.
And yeesh, Michael, usually a very scary thing is when a Slippy pushes Mask of Perdition onto the combat chain, especially when they're not really blocking out an on-hit there. It might have been that Mask of Momentum was being threatened there, which is why Peter blocked with it. Okay. But also, there is a world where blocking with that Mask of Perdition can kind of spell doom in the form of a Bonds of Agony, because one of its use cases is just to be a free attack reaction on board with which to power up the paragraph that is written on that card. In this case, however, Peter has got himself a Pain in the Backside and a Sink Below in hand. So I think it's just going to be Pain in the Backside into the Leave No Witnesses, which is in the arsenal, pocket the Sink Below for later.
And maybe a little bit upset or sad that Travis didn't arsenal that turn, instead of opting to pitch his last card to get those kunais back. But definitely take some of that oomph out of the Leave No Witness that is to follow.
You know what does have oomph? It's Pain in the Backside, which has plenty of targets for daggers for Peter Buddensiek. It looks like he is gesturing to the Hunter's Clave, which means that Travis is now marked. It's not going to be too important here because of the Leave No Witnesses that is coming across, and Travis, not having an arsenal at this point, is probably just going to take this damage.
Yeah, 4 damage. She's at 34. Probably pretty happy to trade back into a 4-card hand with Life Parity. As although it has seemed like Travis has clunked up a bit, I would say the same for Peter, just in terms of, like, I haven't been really impressed with his turns thus far. I haven't jumped out of my seat with how powerful and disruptive it's been. It's really just been kind of vanilla damage on both sides of the table and in kind of low numbers as well.
Really curious to me that Peter doesn't elect to pop the Mask of Perdition there. I mean, he did this in on an earlier game against, I can't remember, I think it was Fang, trying to get those 2 silver to just buy the Mask of Perdition back. He has a much higher likelihood of getting those 2 silver off of 1 hit on Leave No Witnesses because this Cindra deck literally only runs 3 blues.
That's true.
So it is curious that he didn't go for it there.
Yeah, maybe just not fully grasping the situation of the likelihood of that just being a free use. Then again, does it matter all that much to banish 1 card?
It doesn't, but it does buy back the block value on Mask of Perdition.
Oh, true, yeah.
That's
it's
really
+1.
what we care about.
Yeah.
Especially when your opponent is presenting an on-hit every single turn of Mask of Momentum. So, first attack from Travis connects. It's Rising Resentment. No banish on the on-hit there. The follow-up is Hot on their heels. 1 card to the block. Ancestral Empowerment gets over the top of Peter's defenses. So 2 chain links have hit this turn. Travis went ahead and drew a card. Ooh, and it's Hunt the Hunter in the hand, which he will be able to utilize if he gains another resource off of Blood Splattered Vest, only activated once this game thus far.
Thinking about reactions.
You can see he wants that resource.
But is now the time? That's the question for Travis, especially when he's holding on to a Wrath of Retribution.
Yeah, that's another very strong follow-up. Easier to block out, so unlikely to get the Mask of Momentum value. That being said, maybe
That's
you just
still a
follow it up.
nasty turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think you just want to pass reactions here, go Wrath of Retribution, kunai.
Yeah.
And then you can always flick later, and then ultimately you're threatening 2 Mask of Momentum triggers there, because even if Peter blocks out the Wrath of Retribution,
True,
which,
you
as you
get the
said,
double
is
kunai.
free, but then you go double kunai into mark the Hunt the Hunter, which is a really tough breakpoint to cover up, especially when your opponent has a Sink Below in Arsenal. Obviously, Travis doesn't know that, but
Travis has other ideas as he goes for the flick knives here, trying to get that resource,
2, 1 left.
and opts for playing out,
Reactions from me. So take 1, get marked.
probably arsenaling the Wrath of Retribution.
probably, which, while normally is a really good and prudent way to play, I tend to like playing off of Arsenal against these Assassin decks. I mean, I guess it insulates you from Codex of Frailty, but there's just so much Arsenal disruption.
Wrath.
True. Oh, wait.
He decides to play Wrath anyway.
Interesting.
A very curious choice here, Travis. Very interesting.
Is he going to buy back his dagger now and then end another turn with no daggers?
It is possible. I don't love that line. He does have the Dragon Scalar flight
Right, 'cause
path.
he could have just... You can assume the kunai's going to hit, right? So you just get the resource then. You don't need to flick for the guaranteed resource.
I would think so. But in this case, Peter is covering this up. Wrath of Retribution, no damage conferred here. 30 plays 26. Looks like Peter is very committed to blocking at this point. Kunai of Retribution comes in for 2 go again. Is free thanks to the text on Wrath of Retribution. Command and Conquer devoted to the block here. Travis's Arsenal seems to be safe if he decides to set one up, but because he activated Blood Splattered Vest, I would have to imagine that
We'll activate Cindra.
that extra resource is
There's
going
the
towards
buyback.
Hunt the Hunter.
Attack with another one.
He only had 2 Draconic Chain Links.
Oh,
is
the
what Chad
Wrath
is
costs
saying.
3, so he had to flick it in order for it
Right.
to have the resources to play it. Well played, chat. Thank you for keeping us on our toes. And Peter's just blocking out here.
Shows how long Cindra's been out of favor here.
Sure.
Destroyed. We'll get a resource.
And then you get a fealty.
And we get a fealty. Yep. All the things.
So, yeah, Travis just sort of being priced into what is
Okay.
a little bit more suboptimal.
Get here right too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm at 24.
Yep. Okay, we'll pay 1 for Hunt the Hunter.
And
We'll mark you again.
So that, just like that, Travis has gone from 1 counter on Blood Splattered Vest to 0 because he's used all 3 free resources this game, despite the fact that both players are above half their life total.
yeah, And I think Peter has a sink below in Arsenal.
He does.
So,
Cool. 19? Yep.
oh, just takes it.
And you get another fealty.
Down to
Wow.
19 is Peter Buddensiek. Travis has himself 2 fealties here. And the life totals are definitely in his favor at the moment, but
Yeah.
once again, down to 0 daggers. And we saw how much that hampered his offensive potential.
Yeah, I will say, though, that in a red line list, it probably hurts less than the blue list. Not the end of the world, but ooh, defense reaction is not what you want to see to keep tempo. I mean, that being said, there's an 11 life deficit, and Peter is just passing back, and Travis has all the tempo in the world.
But he has 2 shelters from the
there's
storm
2?
in hand. Yes.
Oh, no.
2 shelters and a blaze headlong. He has no go again here.
Yikes.
Looks like the headphones are coming off once again. Travis has another question, I think, about activating Cindra, because
Yeah.
it's really looking like this whole turn is going to be activate Cindra and pass.
Yeah, that could be it. And if that's it, yikes.
Yeah. He's a brick house, is Travis Wagner at the moment. Man, he has been drawing so hot all day. And even though he is bricked up at this point, he's still got himself an 11-point life lead.
You know what I will say, though? He's
Say
been
it.
drawing hot when he hasn't been bringing these defense reactions.
Yes.
So now that he's against the assassin and feels like he's priced into them, they're really gumming him up. It's almost like he'd be better off right now if he just didn't and just kept trying to play his game plan. Oh, I think the question was, if he uses the instant, does that count as playing the card for go again on Blaze Headlong? And the answer to that would be no.
Oh, discarding the
Yeah,
shelter from the storm?
exactly.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Perish the thought, Travis.
Yeah. I mean, that's my guess. I'm just speculating here.
But now that he has played a Draconic Attack, whose name is Blaze Headlong, the Cindra hero ability is discounted by 1, so Travis can pitch 2 of these kind of bricked up cards in order to get his daggers back. Looks like he goes for both of those defense
I
reactions.
actually would have liked to see him put one in Arsenal.
I would have
think.
too, honestly, especially when you're passing with so much tempo in the
Yeah.
favor of Peter after he was able to do a little bit of filtering or deny it with that sink below.
So instead of having a little bit of defensive value to help recover and prevent the disruption, he's opting to keep an offensive card. And now Peter's got all the tempo in the world.
Looks like it is 6 go again here. Art of Desire Body. This is the second use case that is really, really nice for this Mask of Perdition, because Peter is going to be able to pop that, banish 2 cards, and he's going to draw he's going to draw 1 and gain 1 life for every red that is
Yeah.
banished there.
And this is definitely a card. As little as Ninja likes to block, this is one that I would be thinking about blocking. And all of a sudden, Travis wishes he had that D-React in Arsenal. That would just be so nice to be able to play that out here and have some insulation against any kind of pumps.
But with 2 cards in hand, you have to imagine, yeah, indeed, there's a shred from Peter Buddensiek.
So he just says no blocks, and
And here we go.
Peter's going
Activation.
wide.
Activation of Mask of Perdition. Let's see what the draws are going to be, because these cards banished are almost assuredly going to be red. 6 damage comes through. There's 1 red. There's 2 red. So Peter is going to go up to 21 and draw 2 cards here and
Wow.
potentially go even wider this turn. Let's go ahead and
Massive
see what they're
swing.
going to be. Oh, take up the mantle and pick up the point. What a great way to go even wider. He's also got the shred in order to, I'm sorry, it was Savor Bloodshed, not pick up the point. So he's also going to be able to swing Hunter's Clave and then flick Graphene Callistra in order to draw a card off of that Savor Bloodshed. Boy, howdy. This is going to be a nasty turn right here, Michael.
Yeah.
It's only
yeah.
just begun.
And, you know, Travis bricked once before, didn't get punished. This time around, he is eating it for not having the pressure that he needs to keep.
Peter plays out Savor Bloodshed, takes a lick of his dagger, and then sends Hunter's Clave, coming in for 5 go again on hit mark, and then basically confer an assured card draw off of Flick Knives for the rest of the turn.
Yeah. He can't draw off this hit, right?
No.
First, he needs to get the mark, and then, but of course, the attack reaction next time you hit a marked hero. Yeah, so he can
With a dagger. So he's got to have this Hunter's Clave hit first. He needs Travis to disrespect this. And then he can come in with any old attack after that and flick the Graphene Calypso to draw another card.
Yeah, really, really powerful turn. Drawing 3, I heard, is pretty good.
Yep. Yeah, it's not bad. And Travis is wondering, man, should I have just packed myself a Balance of Justice instead of this Mask of Momentum?
He would have drawn more cards off of it.
5 damage comes across. Travis does indeed disrespect it, as ninjas are wont to do. So here comes Infect. Peter has the attack reaction in hand to sink into that attack, and then he's going to be able to flick that Graphene Calypso and draw any old card for the arsenal.
Wow.
Yup. Slippy be nasty, dude.
That was a turn. Still is a turn.
Slippy be so nasty, it's like he just ate a Fluffernutter and, like, put it on himself rather than ate it.
Yeah.
That's a sticky mess right there.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No, nor would I. Infect, however, is going to get taken up. The mantle is going to get taken up on Infect.
He wants to draw more cards.
Why not?
He's not satisfied with just the one.
With the Savor Bloodshed card? It's interesting. I almost wonder if it's better to leave it as an Infect, because I don't... Oh, well, because he can do it at reaction speed, it's entirely possible that he draws himself into another attack reaction here, and he wants to insulate himself from that possibility so that he can not only draw a card to keep for later, he also wants one for right now if it happens that way. I think it was a Kiss of Death, though, in the hand. So no further attack reactions here if this Art of Desire body connects.
Oh, he's got the...
oh, right. Snapdragon Scalers is at the ready. Peter's got everything accounted for here.
Man. So
4
gets the
cards
draws another card. Well, we haven't seen the banish yet, but I'm assuming it's red.
So nasty.
Travis praying for that Warmonger's Diplomacy on top.
Nope. It is a red indeed. So another life gain for Peter, up to 22, and another card drawn. Looks like it's a Bonds of Agony in hand.
That'll probably hit the arsenal.
I would have to imagine so. I think he's only seen one Just a Nick, so he is due for another one. Kiss of Death coming down. Not the best use case scenario for Kiss of Death, but it ain't bad when you're dealing with a random draw.
Yeah, well, now the life total says 22 to 12, and he's still staring down the barrel of another 4, and he just snap takes it. Travis with 5 cards in hand that he can, convert into offense, but at this point, he's going to really need to do a lot of damage to threaten anything.
Folks, at the start of this turn, life totals were 19 to 30. Travis just descended down, 22 life points?
Yeah. And Peter went up 3.
Slippy looking good. If you do nothing to intercept him and put out no offensive potential.
I will say it's been interesting because Peter has been blocking all game, and then all of a sudden he just popped off.
Yeah. They really just need one turn with that Mask of Perdition, and that is probably exactly why Peter was just not willing to risk the popping of the mask on Leave No Witnesses.
It makes sense.
The 4 go again here. Art of the Dragon Blood for Travis Wagner is Draconic, thanks to the popping of a fealty. So it has go again, and it's also discounting 3 Draconic cards after the fact, and Travis has them to boot. Here comes Blaze Headlong. That's the first of those 3 that can be discounted by Art of the Dragon Blood. In this case, it's 4 go again. Costed 0 anyway, but he's got 2 more 1 costs in hand. This is going to be a lot of damage from Travis.
Yeah, Peter's got 2 4-block D-Reacts to work with here, though, so probably just going to go ahead and send one his way here, take the flick, and then get ready for the next one would be my guess. Maybe he just takes it.
Let's see what Peter's working with.
I think it was a Shelter and a Sink, and then I missed the offensive cards.
I think there's an Infiltrate, perhaps, and a Razor's Edge. Yes, It is Infiltrate and Razor's Edge. Shelter from the Storm, going to shore up that Blaze Headlong. The flick comes across. Peter descends on down to 17, and Mask of Momentum is still live.
Demonstrate Devotion, cheaper because of blood. Gets go again.
Another 4?
Fealty.
Another 4 here. This is definitely the turn that Travis wants to have in order to claw his way back into this game.
Yeah, and Peter's super happy to have that second reaction.
Pretty good.
Yep.
Cool.
Travis distends his vocal cords to say, pretty good. Exactly the thing you say when you don't like what your opponent just did.
Yeah,
Also free.
and his jovial attitude seems to be dampened just a little bit as he can see the writing on the wall. He's in a bad spot right now. It certainly isn't out of the game yet, but it's looking tough. He's got quite the hill to climb to make up that life difference. And as long as Peter keeps taking the damage, eventually Travis, probably even this turn, is going to have to start blocking. And once ninjas have to start blocking, their value goes down the tubes.
Which makes you wonder, I mean, like, Travis had a good blocking hand on that last turn.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible that he would have gained more equity out of throwing those
I
cards
mean, if
onto
he
the
could
defense.
stop a draw too, it would have been phenomenal. It's just, it's so hard to justify blocking into Assassin with the number of reactions that they bring. It just, it feels like, well, if I do this and they still hit,
And that's the good one.
then what?
2 cards in hand.
So Peter is leading off with a Bonds of Agony that was sitting in the arsenal. He's only got 1 attack reaction in hand and 1 on board. So this is entirely a bluff, which is the power of Slippy. I mean, like, no other assassins can bluff Bonds of Agony quite
True.
like this.
So it looks like the correct play from Travis would be to say no blocks. But man, at 8 life,
Especially when your opponent has seen only 1 just a nick.
with 2 cards in hand and a Flick Knives, it's very likely that he has the 3 that he needs. Of course, he doesn't, and we know that. But Travis does not, and he is not happy to see that.
It is a risky proposition here. Travis, hand to chin, trying to sniff out the proper line here.
3
What?
cards or 2? 2?
2 cards.
One of the things I like about being behind is that you can justify taking risks. Sometimes you just realize that your only out is for them not to have it, and you can afford, in that sense, you're going to lose if you do, so you might as well take the risky play here. And Travis is thinking about doing just that.
I think in Travis's seat, you have to assume that both of those cards in Peter's hand are reactions.
Well, let's say you do assume that, and then you give him, what, 3 cards?
No, I don't think you can give 3 cards necessarily. I think you need to figure out a 1-card block or like a 1-card plus equipment block that kind of insulates you from death. Like, you have to,
Sure.
I'm just saying you have to, like, make a risk assessment there.
Right.
And then ultimately decide, like, hey, if they have it, then great. But if they don't, what could it possibly be, and how do I insulate myself from it?
Sure. Well, if they don't, could it possibly be is this is a 1-power attack with go again, and not blocking would be correct, right? So it's when you are in this position, I'm not saying it's correct to do it, but if you feel like you can't win the game unless you eke some value out of thin air, this is the time to do it. This is the time to just gut call, you don't have it, no blocks.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you can block.
But it's a very difficult call to make. And if you make it wrong, you're dead on board. No questions asked.
You mentioned thin air. It is getting ever thinner as the altitude of the top 8 here, the May Arcane Games and Events Open Series, Season 3, of course, reaches a fever pitch. 1 go again, still on the combat chain.
I love these moments in the top 8 with the players in the tank, the game on the line.
In order to love Flesh and Blood, you have to love these moments as a player, too.
Yeah.
They're so hard, but they're what makes the game so good.
Yeah. When you get good at making decisions under these circumstances, that's what propels you into victory.
Right now. Question.
He's thinking about committing equipment and a card, which would be a nice free 4 value to Peter if he just says cool and plays an attack.
He hasn't committed yet, though. There's a hand on his brow.
Yeah.
Surely tomorrow Travis is going to wake up and wonder where all this pain in my spine came from, and it's from this moment, armadilloing in front of the fearsome force that is Peter Buddensiek.
And he goes ahead and
Show
commits.
me if I'm wrong. We'll block 5.
Show me if I'm wrong, says Travis Wagner, and Peter is about to do just that. No reactions, he
Do
says.
you have any reactions? No. Nope. Okay.
Travis says no reactions,
3.
which means that Infiltrate is the follow-up here, and it's going to get all the way to 6 because Razor's Edge is
Yeah.
locked and loaded for Peter.
No, go again.
No, go again.
God, the threat of Bonds of Agony. It just makes you make these blocks.
It makes you crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy making.
Razor's Edge. Move it to 6.
Razor's Edge up to 6. Travis is not dead, but Peter is going to get himself a free card, essentially,
Take 6. Go to 2.
with which to use on his next turn.
Yeah.
Banish the top card.
Travis is down to 2. The banish is Ronin Renegade. A fantastic pickup
Yep.
for Peter.
Just a nice, clean go again that he can play.
Sorry. Yep. Until the end of the next turn?
Yeah, so I can play it on my next turn. It's from the PT. I drafted 3. So I put all 3 in my deck.
Peter showing off his beautifully stamped Razor's Edges that make up the playset in his deck. Okay, Travis is down to 2, has a 10 life deficit to recover against Peter, and he only has 3 cards in hand and 1 in arsenal with which to do it. This is a good one to start off with, though. Oath of Loyalty, 4 go again. Only Draconic cards for the rest of the turn.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see, does Peter take it and send that 4-card hand, or is he slow playing it all the way to the end?
One of those cards is a Command and Conquer, and all of those cards are red, so I would have to imagine that that card is going to be devoted to the block at some point.
Yep.
However, he doesn't have to worry about Mask of Momentum anymore. One of Peter's favorite cards, mind you. All of his social medias are tagged Mask of Momentum.
Ah, I didn't know that.
So if there's anybody that probably knows how to play against it, it's got to be Peter. 2 more damage comes through off of Ignite. Peter says it is not efficient to block that, so I just won't. Down to 6 is Peter. Kunai of Retribution comes in for free thanks to Ignite's text. 1 go again.
I'll float a resource.
Peter floats a resource and blocks with that Tunic,
1 floating.
which means that if Mask of Momentum was still on the arena, Peter would still be blocking diligently.
Yeah.
We'll use a fealty to make this Draconic.
Ravenous Rabble coming in and is Draconic thanks to the popping of a fealty token on Travis's side of the board. 4 go again here after revealing another Oath of Loyalty.
Pot 3.
And yes, here comes Command and Conquer to block out the majority of that damage. Peter takes 1, down to 5, and Travis is left with just 1 card in Arsenal. And he knows that Peter is at least going to start off the next turn with his own card, Ronin Renegade. Snatch being the
is
follow-up
nice.
here.
It's a card.
It's the most Draconic snatch you've ever seen.
If you could top deck a D-Reactor or something in this spot.
Could be huge. But a lot of them are at the bottom of the deck because he's been pitching them to pay for his hero ability.
Yeah.
Peter, however, doesn't have a clean way to block this. It would probably require his Flick Knives in order to do so.
Yeah.
But the flip side is going down to 1 against a deck that runs Flick Knives. Actually, he can't do that because Travis has not flicked yet this turn. So that would mean death.
Yeah, so he definitely needs to block this out and give 2 cards, which is actually
It's
a
relevant.
tough ask. Yeah, that's very
relevant.
meaningful. Travis really piecing together a good turn here despite being at 2 life.
Peter says, I need to hold on to those Flick Knives, though. I need some inevitability here.
Yeah.
Travis responds in kind. Flick Knives connects with Peter, which means that between that and the Snatch, Peter is down to 3. And we know the card drawn from Travis Wagner is Oath of Loyalty because we saw it on top of the deck with Ravenous Rabble, which means that Travis has a fantastic 1-card follow-up if he's able to get there. But that being said, Peter is going to go 3 chain links wide here, starting off with Kiss of Death.
That's
And
a tough
unless Travis has drawn the last copy of Shelter from the Storm, that is going to spell death here.
one. True.
Because
Once that
the
gets
flick from
flicked-
Kiss of Death is going to confer 1 life loss as well.
Yeah. I was worried that Peter might not, because I thought maybe he'd have to take 2 turns if Travis could block out. It's only a 2-card hand. It's not that scary, but in this case, with 2 life, he's got just what he needs.
That should be all she wrote. Travis is checking everything, just making sure that that card in Arsenal hasn't been transformed into a Calming Breeze or something like that, making sure that
You never know.
he has maintained his literacy,
Sure. No reaction.
thinking about the possibility.
And there's the Ronin Renegade that I forgot about.
Ronin Renegade 3 go again here. Also enables Peter to do the game-winning flick here. He's 1 flick away
Flick Knives and
from the finals here at Arcane Games and Events. He's flicked it, and
There it
Travis
is.
extends the fist bump, which means that Peter Buddensiek is ascending to the finals.
Love it. Congratulations to Peter. What a game. Nail biter.
It is going to be an assassin off, ladies and gentlemen. We have received word that Tao Tao was able to kill his second Fang of the day and ascend to the finals himself. So it's Arakni slip through the cracks versus Arakni Marionette.
And I gotta say, yikes, because Arakni slipped through the cracks. If anyone remembers this hero, one of the reasons that people were not super hot on him right away was he can first go again to both sides of the table. Every first stealth card of the turn gets go again. So you got to think that Arakni Marionette is feeling pretty good to have this as the final match of the day.
There are some very interesting intricacies in that match. This is by no means going to be a cut and dry assassin mirror here. The multiple personality syndrome is going to be running rampant here at the feature match area. Arakni is going to be looking at themselves and saying, you look different.
You know, I don't think I've seen this matchup before. Now that I really rewind my brain, I've, maybe once on Talashar type of thing, but especially not between two really skilled assassin players in Peter and Tao Tao. I am looking forward to seeing how this match goes. I'm scared for Peter. It seems like that hero power could just really bite him, but if you're telling me that this is not cut and dry, then we will just have to wait and see how the cards fall, because the Slippy hero power and the way that you can build the deck, it's powerful. We just saw what it can do.
This is going to be a very special treat for you, Michael, because not only are you seeing this matchup for the first time, you are also seeing it played probably at the highest level possible.
This is great. I can't wait.
Well, let's stop talking about it. Let's be about it. Let's go to a quick break, and we'll be back with the finals here at Arcane Games and Events, May Season 3.